which king sent, and all the old men of Judah and Jerusalem were gathered to him. And the king went up into the temple of the Lord, and all the men of Judah, and all the men that dwelled in Jerusalem with him, the priests and the prophets, and all the people from little unto great. And the king read, while all men heard, all the words of the book of bond of peace of the Lord, the which was found in the house of the Lord. And the king stood on the degrees, and smote a bond of peace before the Lord, that they would go after the Lord, and keep his commandments, and witnessings, and ceremonies, in all their heart, and in all their soul, and that they should raise up the words of this bond of peace, that were written in that book, and the people assented to the covenant. And the king commanded to Hilkiah, the bishop, and to the priest of the second order, and to the porters, that they should cast out of the temple all the vessels that were made to Baal, and in the malmet wood, and to all the knighthood of heaven. And he burnt those vessels without or outside Jerusalem, in the even valley of Kidron, and bare the powder of those vessels into Bethel. And he did away false diviners, which the kings of Judah had set to make sacrifice in high things by the cities of Judah, and in the compass of Jerusalem. And he did away them that burnt incense to Baal, and to the sun, and to the moon, and to the 12 signs, and to all the knighthood of heavens. And the king made the wood of malmetry to be borne out of the house of the Lord, without Jerusalem, in the even valley of Kidron, and he burnt it there, and he drove it into powder, and casted it forth upon the sepulchres of the common people. Also he destroyed the little houses of womanish men, the which houses were in the house of the Lord, for the which houses women weaved or waddled as little houses of the woods. And he gathered all the priests from the cities of Judah, and he defiled the high things where the priests made sacrifice, from Geba unto Beersheba. And he destroyed the altars of the gates in the entering of the door of Joshua, the prince of a city, which door was at the left half of the gate of the city. Nevertheless, the priests of high things went not up to the altar of the Lord in Jerusalem, but only they ate thirf loaves in the midst of their brethren. Also he defiled Topheth, which is in the even valley of the son of Hinnom, that no man should hallow his son, either his daughter, by fire to Moloch. And he did away horses that the kings of Judah had given to the sun in the entering of the temple of the Lord, beside the chamber of Nathan-Melech, the gelding that was in Parphavim, that is suburbs or living quarters. Forsooth he burnt by fire the chariots of the sun. Also the king destroyed the altars that were on the roofs of the solar of Ahaz, which the kings of Judah had made. And the king destroyed the altars which Manasseh had made in the 2 great places of the temple of the Lord. And he ran from thence, and scattered the ashes of those altars in the strand of Kidron. Also the king defiled the high things that were in Jerusalem at the right half of the hill of offense, that is, the hill of Olivet, or Olives, which Solomon, king of Israel, had builded to Ashtoreth, the idol of Sidonians, and to Chemosh, the offense of Moab, and to Malcolm, the abomination of the sons of Ammon. And he all brake images, and cutted down woods, and filled the places of those with the bones of dead men. Furthermore also, he destroyed the altar that was in Bethel, and the high solemn thing, which Jeroboam the son of Nebat had made, that made Israel to do sin. And he destroyed that high altar, and burnt it, and all brake it into powder, and cut it down also the wood. And Josiah turned, and saw their sepulchres that were in the hill, and he sent, and took the bones from the sepulchres, and burnt those on the altar, and defiled it after the word of the Lord, that the man of God spake, that before said these words. And the king said, What is this burial that I see? And the citizens of that city answered to him, It is the sepulchre of the man of God that came from Judah, and before said these words, which thou hast done upon the altar of Bethel. And the king said, Suffer ye him, no man move his bones. And his bones dwelled untouched with the bones of the prophet that came from Samaria. Furthermore also, Josiah did away all the temples of high things that were in the cities of Samaria, which the kings of Israel had made to stir the Lord to ire. And he did to those temples by all things which he had done in Bethel. And he killed all the priests of high things that were there upon the altars. And he burnt men's bones on those altars. And he turned again to Jerusalem. And he commanded to all the people and said, Mask ye Pasch to the Lord your God, after that is written in the book of this bond of peace. Certainly such a Pasch was not made from the days of judges that deemed Israel, and of all the days of the kings of Israel and of Judah, as this Pasch was made to the Lord in Jerusalem in the 18th year of King Josiah. But also Josiah did away men having fiends speaking in their wombs, and false diviners and altars, and he did away the figures of idols, and all uncleannesses and abominations that were in the land of Judah and in Jerusalem, that he should do the words of the law that were written in the book that Hilkiah the priest found in the temple of the Lord. No king before him was like him, that turned again to the Lord in all his heart, and in all his soul, and in all his strength, after the law of Moses. Neither after him rose any like him. Nevertheless, the Lord was not turned away from the ire of his great vengeance, by which his strong vengeance was wroth against Judah, for the stirrings of ire by which Manasseh had stirred him to ire. Therefore the Lord said, I shall do away also Judah from my face, as I did away Israel, and I shall cast away the city Jerusalem which I chose, and the house of which I said, my name shall be there. Forsooth the residue of the words of Josiah, and all things that he did, whether these be not written in the book of the words of the days of the kings of Judah. In the days of Josiah, Pharaoh Necho, the king of Egypt, went up against the king of Assyrians to the flood Euphrates, and Josiah king of Judah went into the meeting of Pharaoh to forbid him to pass through Judah. And Josiah was slain in Megiddo when he had seen Pharaoh. And his servants bare him dead from Megiddo, and brought him into Jerusalem, and buried him in his sepulchre. And the people of the land took Jehoahaz, the son of Josiah, and anointed him, and made him king for his father. Jehoahaz was of 23 years when he began to reign, and he reigned 3 months in Jerusalem. The name of his mother was Hamutal, the daughter of Jeremy of Libnah. After he did evil before the Lord, by all things which his fathers had done. And Pharaoh Necho bound him in prison in Riblah, that is in the land of Hamath, that he should not reign in Jerusalem. And Pharaoh set a pain, either a fine, to the land of Judah, and in 100 talents of silver, and in 1 talent of gold. And Pharaoh Necho made King Eliakim, the son of Josiah, for Josiah his father, and he turned the name of him to Jehoiakim. Forsooth Pharaoh took Jehoahaz, and led him into Egypt, and he died there. Soothly, Jehoiakim gave silver and gold to Pharaoh, when he had commanded to the land by all years, that it should be brought by the commandment of Pharaoh. And Jehoiakim raised of each man by his might, or after his power, both silver and gold of the people of the land, that he should give to Pharaoh Necho. Jehoiakim was of 25 years when he began to reign, and he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem. The name of his mother was Zebudah, the daughter of Pedaiah of Rumah. And he did evil before the Lord, by all things which his fathers had done.